what's your angle, Pythagoras? There are some kind of tongue-in-cheek jokes here, so you'll kind of like corny jokes.
Oh.
All right. Author is Julie Ellis. Long ago in ancient Greece, there lived a curious boy named Pythagoras. Pythagoras just couldn't help poking his nose into places. Sometimes his curiosity got him in trouble, but sometimes it paid off. One day, Pythagoras sat in the shade of the old olive tree. He could see the harbor and the sparkling blue sea around the island where he lived. Nearby, 2 workmen were building a temple. They began to argue. This ladder is too short to reach the roof, Pepros grumbled. That's not possible, said Saltos. Pepros, Saltos. That's the kind of corny joke. This wall is 12 feet tall, so I made this ladder 12 feet long. Will that work?
No.
Pepros roared, the ladder only reaches the roof when it's flat against the wall, and then no one can climb it. This is as bad as the columns on the porch. Pythagoras poked his head from behind a tree. What's wrong with the columns, he asked. Pepros frowned. It's that pesky Pythagoras again. Stop bothering us. At this rate, we'll never finish this temple. As the workmen argued, Pythagoras crept around to the other side of the building. 4 columns stood, notice, nice and crooked. Some are going one way, some the other. Some columns tilted to the left, some leaned to the right. These columns will never hold up a roof, Pythagoras said to himself. I wish there was something I could do to help. Still thinking about the problem, he ran home for dinner. When he got home, his father was talking about his ship. I sailed to Crete with a shipload of tiles, but Lepus and Boundus got there before I did. Leaps and bounds. We got there first.
Lepus and Boundus.
By leaps and bounds. Quickly. With
Leap.
their fast new ship, they will take away all my customers. Through a mouthful of bread and olives, Pythagoras asked, Father, you always sail to Rhodes first and then to Crete. Why don't you just sail straight from here to Crete? It would be a lot faster. It's too dangerous, his father replied. It would not be safe to sail straight from here to Crete unless I knew the exact distance. Out at sea, I could miss Crete and end up anywhere. I'm leaving for Egypt tomorrow, and I want you to come with me, son. One day you will command my merchant ships, and you will have much to learn. So at dawn the next morning, Pythagoras and his father set sail. As they sailed along the coast, Pythagoras said, I can't wait to see Alexandria. I hear they have great buildings there, and I may want to be a builder someday. But son, you're going to be a merchant, his father said. The life of a merchant is exciting. You get to sail to faraway places. He put an arm around Pythagoras' shoulders and said, you just have to look at it from the right angle. Soon they were sailing into the port of Alexandria, the capital city of Egypt. Pythagoras marveled at the great lighthouse that stood proudly against the sky. Saltos and Pepos should see this, he said. At the dock, a man greeted them. I am the builder, Nefer Hefer Keper Hesher Keper, but people can call me Nef. I'm here for the tiles. Pythagoras was excited to meet a real builder. Have you ever built anything around here, he asked. As a matter of fact, I helped to build that lighthouse. And how do you get the base so straight, Pythagoras asked, thinking of those crooked columns back home. You must be a master builder. Nef smiled and stuck out his chest. The secret is this special rope that has been used in my family for ages. You use a knotted rope to cut stone, Pythagoras asked. Nef laughed. My dear boy, this rope does not cut stone. I use the rope to make a special triangle. I call it the right triangle because it helps me make a nice square corner that's exactly the right angle for cutting the stone. Nef let Pythagoras hold the rope. Pythagoras made some triangles, and none of them had the right angle. How long do you make each side, he asked. Oh, I've shown you too much already, chuckled Nef as he took back his rope. Why don't you run along now? As his father and Nef talked, Pythagoras found an old piece of rope and tied knots in it. He pulled the rope into different triangles. Finally, he made a triangle that seemed right. He had 3 lengths on one side of the rope, 4 lengths on the other, and 5 on the longest side. I've got it, he said to himself. Just then, Pythagoras' father called to him. Carry this crate of tiles, son. Nef and I will carry the rest. I would carry them, Nef said, but I've hurt my thumb, so I can't. You'll have to make 2 trips. When they got back to the house Nef was building, he said, while you get the rest of the tiles, I'll get the money I owe you. So grumbling, Pythagoras' father headed back to the ship. Nef patted Pythagoras on the head. Be a good boy and watch these tiles for me, he said as he disappeared into the house, and don't touch anything. Pythagoras looked around the sunny courtyard. In the middle stood a statue base made of stone. He took some tiles out of the crate just to see how they would look around the base. I can put them back quickly, he thought. He made a row of 3 red tiles along one side of the statue base. He added 2 more rows of red tiles to make a red square. Some of these crates have blue tiles, Pythagoras said. Soon red and blue tiles were scattered everywhere. Pythagoras made a square of blue tiles and then a big square of red and blue tiles. He was admiring his work when he noticed something. This statue base is a right triangle. Its sides are 3, 4, and 5 tiles long. He counted the tiles. Strange, he thought. The 9 tiles in the red square plus the 16 tiles in the blue square are exactly the same as the 25 tiles in the red and blue square. Suddenly a voice demanded, "What do you think you are doing?" Neff rushed into the courtyard, and Pythagoras' father was right behind him. "What's all this?" Neff snapped. "I'm sorry," Pythagoras said. "I was going to put the tiles back, but I found out something interesting." "I don't care what you found," interrupted Neff. "Look at this mess." "Pythagoras, pick up the tiles," his father said sternly, "and hurry. We have many more stops today." The next day, Pythagoras and his father set sail for home. To pass the time, Pythagoras drew a picture of the square tiles he'd made. The square with 3 tiles on each side had 9. Emily, shut that door. The one with 4 on each side had 16, and the one with 5 on each side had 25. "So," he said, "in a square, the length of a side times itself is the number of tiles in the whole square. I will call this squaring. When I multiply a number by itself, 3 times 3 is 9. 3 squared is 9. And 4 squared is 16. 5 squared is 25. Pythagoras drew a new picture and wrote 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared. I wonder if the squares on the sides of other right triangles add up the same way. Pythagoras practically flew off the ship when he got home. He couldn't wait to tell Saltos and Pepperos about the special knotted rope and the secret of the right triangle. When he got to the unfinished temple, Saltos and Pepperos were not there, but the ladder was on the ground where Pepperos had thrown it. That ladder would be easy to climb if the bottom were about 5 feet from the wall. Pepperos said that the wall is 12 feet high. And he drew a triangle in the dirt and wrote 5 squared, the distance from the wall, plus 12 squared, the distance of the wall, equals question mark. Well, 5 squared is?
25.
12 squared is?
144.
25 plus 144 is 169. So what's the side of that hypotenuse?
13.
13 squared equals 169. That's it. The ladder needs to be 13 feet long. He fixed the ladder and headed home. At the home, Pythagoras got out a map. He looked at it closely. "I wonder," he said to himself. That night, Pythagoras announced, "I found the distance from here to Crete." His father nearly choked on his fig. His mother asked, "Well, how can that be, son?" Pythagoras answered, "I discovered a pattern that works for any right triangle. I used it to figure out the distance. Now father can sail straight from here to Crete." His father stood up. "Son, I cannot risk my ship because of some silly triangle." "Father," Pythagoras started to explain, and at that moment Saltos and Pepperos came rushing in, puffing as hard as if they'd raced up a hill. Pepperos turned to Pythagoras and said, "You did something to our ladder." "Has he been bothering you again?" his father asked. "No, he made our ladder the perfect length. We will be able to finish the roof now. Then all we'll have to do is fix the crooked bases at the end of the columns." "Maybe I can help," Pythagoras offered. "Use my rope to make right angles. If you use a right angle to make the bases straight, the columns will all stand straight." Saltos laughed. "Great. Now we can finish the temple on time. You're welcome to stop by and help us any